Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Well, I did get them to admit they were lying, but it turns out the chief of police of the Adams State University, Alamosa's got a branch at the university. He wasn't kidding. They can lie to you. And, and the father of lies is Satan. And it was kind of like, yeah, look, you got us, but it's not illegal. I went to the district attorney, and one of the investigators said, it's not criminal. It's like me telling you the sun is red. That's what he told me. It's a lie. You should know it's not red. So I guess every bill you get from anybody, because it's the DEI crowd that wanted me out of here. I told them, I laid out the facts. They made up a bill. They said it was late and I had to move out, and PayPal never got the money or never sent them the money. And it turns out they admit, yeah, we had it. It was all there. We lied. That's just the way it goes. And then they got backed up. So this is liar world. That part of my figuring it out and why I'm at Alamosa because of Beverly McClure and the Epstein connection. No, we still don't have those files. Put that down on your list of the day one things, because I was telling everybody Barack Obama is not going to let everybody out of Gitmo on the day that he is inaugurated. He said he would, but he didn't. Hello there, Zach Mack, Vic Knack. I'm kidding. So the whole getting lied to, and with Joaquin, he's the young man here that's helping me out with art and a lot of things. And he's been going through the mix, and he knows people that are getting billed and they have to work as an RA and they don't get paid because they owe money. And they're just making it up. So we're not done. We've been lied to, but you can't go down I'm going to file suit and teach them a lesson. But I learned a lesson. Did I say welcome everybody to Mud Flood? I think I did. Mud Flood was Armageddon, all that. I got my driver's license today. So after 7 years of that jurisdiction, who has jurisdiction in Colorado, was it even 2017, 2018? But I finally got a learner's permit today. So I just have to get somebody that has a car and go in and take a driver's test. But I remember saying about 7 or 8 months ago, I am going to get a license. RJ had to remind me like 100 times. But, I went in and I took the test. I didn't have to take the test today. This is all that 6 years old stuff. Another thing I learned was Indiana, it will not give you your original birth certificate. You're going to get a certificate of live birth. Not that that has anything to do with the certificate of live birth that they should have. Hawaii doesn't have the law that Indiana has. Indiana has a law that they are going to control it. It's in their constitution. Indiana and Colorado, what do they have in common in the 1920s and 30s? Indiana had the highest rate of Ku Klux Klan members per capita, and Colorado was second. They tried harder. But the deal with the Klan, they were millstoned. Like we were globe believers. We wanted to go to Mars. The Mormons, we can't hold it against their relatives unless they're deep into Satanism and, things like that. It's hard to trust anybody while we're not judging them because we don't know if they're going to be saved. We just know who's showing good fruit now. So with all that, wow, what a day. And tomorrow I'm catching a bus at 5:45 in the morning and going to go to Pueblo. Remember how last year before I got the mini bike and hurt myself? And with all of the trouble they gave me, I was going to do a lot of traveling. Well, I'm starting right now. I'm going to the track meet. We're going to do some boots on the ground. I forget what are they? Boots on the ground, mud flooding studies. Look at these antique architecture. Maybe find a tunnel and watch some of the track meet. Here's a disclaimer that proves I listen when they tell me what I have to do. There's their fair use. It's the unfair use disclaimer to me. I can say that because as a Christian, I think it's a religious abomination to make me use a fair use disclaimer and hire people based on their sexuality. Oh man, I forgot water. See, look at some of these pictures. I took these this morning, figuring I had a busy day and I wanted to have something to fall back on. I didn't know that the day would say, congratulations, Paco, you proved they lied. It's okay. So those are kingdoms of the world. That's from yesterday. This is this morning. Look at that. I have no intention of backing up my OneDrive right now. Anyway, any shape, any form. Can you tell I'm stalling? But look at that. Is that a double vesica piscis? Now, this is part of their alien agenda. If you're new, which most people are not, I'm going to show some videos, then we're going to do the tabs. I got some Bibles that is going to be, wow, thank you, Father. A lot of this is wheat, and you can tell where people walked on it a little bit. Wrong way. Okay. There it is. That's another view. See that corner? Strategically located mounds, 3 mounds. So who's ever, they're plasma bursts. It's probably the same technology that they do their weapons with. This is Culliford Barrow, very famous place. Does that look like they tied strings on boards and bent it over? How'd they do that in here? It looks like a pattern to me. Oh, this is where the tractor ruts were. You can't affect that. Close up. Looks like wool, doesn't it? Okay, there's some patterns. This is what they do with their playing, testing sound waves on the ground to see if they can match the pattern and vibration and frequency. I don't have any notes tonight. I think the Lord wants you to think about that. Oh, that's cool. That is cool. Little ground burst of the plasma. There's another one. Look at that. Where's all the footsteps? Here, is that a footstep? So that's probably where the guy went down to get the drone. He came in on the, that's what he did. He came in on this path here, scooted up here, and flew the drone. Looks like he did intrude in here. I don't know. You see any mounds? There's a keyhole thing. Here's a lot of footsteps. I'm pretty sure it's footsteps. Looks like footsteps. I use that as the thumbnail. That's a close-up of it. Thought it was interesting. They had these 5 here. Boy, those guys with their sticks and they're walking and bending over the wheat. That's just very familiar looking, but I can't put my finger on it. Is that the Avengers from the TV show? The Marvel comic book? There's 2 in the same area. That's a busy night. So these happened recently, or at least what I got on this topic because one happened yesterday. Here's a little, oh, that's a tractor mark. Is that all I got? Huh. Well, I thought I had some more. We've got more stuff coming up right now.
To be a man of peace, but we said during the election, gun to head, we'd have to pick Trump over Harris because these guys are going to march us right into World War III. There is absolutely no doubt that under a Harris avatar for the deep state administration, we would have worked with the Europeans to escalate tensions with Russia and to continue to arm Ukraine to the teeth. Now, don't get it twisted. Under Trump, they have continued to send arms to Ukraine. They have continued to send money to Ukraine. They haven't completely shut that down as Trump suggested he would do to force a peace. He has not gone that far. But is he taking a tack where, at the very least, he seems committed to defusing tensions with nuclear-armed Russia?
So they're living in fake world, are they not? The one thing I do appreciate is that he called the Kamala Harris thing an avatar, because Trump is an avatar. These people work for the mafia and the father of lies to make us think that we have a chance. We don't have to have our children work in factories anymore. Yet, this is all going bad in real time. You know, the things they talk about. These guys, it's all fake. It is all fake. They're not going to fix it. They're breaking it.
They're attacking each other, and people are dying all the time. He's in a war. He's fighting a war. Nobody said he was.
Yeah, and 380,000 people, and the files were going to be released at last term. Last term, they were going to be released. This was funny. Look, this is a guy's knee. I wonder if this is computer. What's your opinion? Computer, because of the way he turned. Watch his upper body turn. It's not a real. Looks real. I don't know. 2 kicks and 2 punches, and what was it? Mike Tyson, you're knocked out.
Form their environment, even the poor can rise to our level. Forget about it. That's not the environment that makes you what you are. Eliminate the bad genes in the population and keep the fittest genes in the gene pool.
Let's see, I got a problem with that. I really do.
Things that the eugenicist cannot, because he's watching mutations move across multiple generations.
By 1913, Morgan had been studying fruit flies for so long.
It is, what's the elephant in the room here? What is this guy, right? Something we missed? Is this Teosinte of how they got wheat? The background. This is a computer-generated, mind-altering drug.
That his laboratory at Columbia University was known simply as the Fly Room.
The what? Oh.
And his assistants, the Fly Boys.
Okay, I'd quit. I would be saying, you know what? I don't want to be a fly boy.
For nearly a
Not
decade,
even a fly man?
they'd been holed up there on the 6th floor of Skimmerhorn Hall, breeding flies in half-pint milk bottles pilfered from the campus cafeteria.
I'll bet.
Thousands upon thousands of mutants were crossed, and the results meticulously recorded. White
Because they were trying to prove that white people rule. This girl was diagnosed a moron, but she wasn't, but they had to shut her up. So
he diagnosed as a moron.
The Kallikak family was a huge bestseller for many, many years. References to the Kallikaks were in the speeches of politicians, books, scholarly journals, popular magazines. Everyone knew what the Kallikaks meant. You have to watch out who you mate with, or your descendants could turn out to be feeble-minded criminals, alcoholics, and so forth.
well, you don't have to worry about that anymore, do you?
Goddard was eager to demonstrate the value of intelligence testing as a diagnostic.
Right. And they got you figured out. Here's the girl. Buck versus Bell. If you haven't heard this one, you need to hear it. If you haven't heard it in a while, you need your memory refreshed. In English, that's you need your memory refreshed.
Superior, I cannot date and certainly cannot mate with a eugenically unfit person.
Fitter families contestants came from miles around, often dressed in their Sunday best, and submitted themselves to a rigorous 3-hour inspection. Straight, healthy teeth earned them high marks, as did musical talent or a family history of longevity. Disease or disability, even a lame grandmother or an epileptic uncle, was a demerit. While the stock judges are testing the Holsteins, jerseys, and white faces in the stock pavilion, one contest organizer said, "We are judging the Joneses, Smiths, and the Johnsons."
Were equally gifted and equally talented, and that the future of African Americans should hinge on the future procreation of the talented. Those ideas.
They had their Boulay, Prince Hall Freemasons. We know how to mate the black people. So they did. They all seen it coming.
Moral tendency could be that a woman had been sexually abused. It could mean she was going out late at night. It could mean she's a prostitute. If you're morally deficient, that's evidence that you're mentally deficient.
That's like your ethics of doing business where you can lie. That's all published today in Colorado.
Actually inadequate classes.
Harry Laughlin believes that to really move the needle on the national genetic pool and really improve things, sterilization was the answer.
Eugenical sterilization.
And when the few people protested it, they decided to poison the skies, poison the food. So these young men and women who are taking the abortion pills and recommending them, they're probably not even pregnant. Oh, I had unprotected sex, I better take the pill. Most of them can't have children if and when they ever wanted to.
Sterilization was Laughlin's life work. He published a book in 1922, a compendium of every law that had been passed, of every case that had been brought, excruciating detail about the history of eugenical sterilization. And it became the Bible for people who wanted to pass sterilization laws.
It was only a matter of time before Laughlin was asked to serve as an expert witness in the case against Carrie Buck. And though he was unable to appear in person, he was more than happy to help.
Laughlin never met Carrie Buck. Laughlin never traveled to Virginia to see her. His testimony was read into the record of the Carrie Buck case as a deposition.
The Buck family, Laughlin argued, was mentally defective, members of what he described as the shiftless, ignorant, and worthless class of antisocial whites of the South. As such, Carrie was certainly likely to give birth to defective children. No doubt, with her infant daughter Vivian, she already had. Laughlin's testimony proved persuasive. As the eugenicists hoped, first the county judge, then the state Supreme Court upheld Virginia's sterilization law. The next and final ruling
Liars.
from the Supreme
They are
Court
liars.
of the United States.
Poor Carrie Buck. There's no weaker person, perhaps, who's ever come before the Supreme Court. She is poor, and she is alone, and her mother is an inmate, and she has a lawyer that's been chosen by her enemies to not represent her. And she's asking the font of justice in our society, don't let them forcibly operate on me so I can't have children. And they say, go ahead, sterilize her.
In May 1927, the court's majority opinion was rendered by the Venerable Oliver Wendell Holmes, who at 86 was widely regarded as America's most brilliant legal mind.
You got a little something going on with him too in this computer-generated remake.
It is better for all the world, Holmes wrote, if instead of waiting to execute degenerate offspring for crime, or to let them starve for their imbecility, society can prevent those who are manifestly unfit from continuing their kind. 3 generations of imbeciles are enough.
They can decide for you, and they have already decided for you in case you didn't notice it. I didn't get a chance to preview this before we get to the Bible study and some other things, but the Lunchbox crew are always there. Little volume, huh?
Church. It is complete nonsense, in my opinion. A very bad lie, showing that the truth is not being told.
One show once a week, but that's all you need. And then remind them, hey, is there going to be a fire narrative?
50th birthday party they had. And the 3-day feast. That kind of information just distracts me. I love it when they throw the backstories in there. So I never have to focus on who actually builds the palaces. No. To prove that this is a worldwide operation, and this is an AI-generated story, to trick all of us into thinking that this structure isn't from the previous civilization. We get the nod. Yet Peter and Paul Cathedral has seen its share of tragic events, including numerous fires. If you don't understand any old buildings, it is a fortified citadel containing museums and sacred sites. You can see that we are looking at a very important location for this research. We can make an educated guess at this point that this is not everything, and some structures have been removed. This city is filled with griffins. It's basically Griffin Central.
It's going to be a trick thing because of the thumbnail. It showed it like, is this going to be like Manitoba or some weird place in Canada?
Or in other words, the center of Tartaria. Kazan, a very interesting place for sure, with Khan's Mosque located within the
not even
walls.
close.
Some scholars believe that the tower may date back further than the 18th century.
This is where Tartaria was supposed to be. It's not like it's just where.
It's amazing. Now that we've struck gold, let's keep going. Oh, and the tower used to be topped with a griffin.
This is from Sylvie and New Earth Channel back in 2015. St. Petersburg.
Oh, that they're definitely doing it here. It's incredible. It's palace after palace here. You can even see another one behind it. And this building still has its old world bells. In fact, the bells are in nearly every one of these buildings.
Wow.
For us to share it to the world. There are so many buildings in the USA that look so out of place. Structures that we can all go and see. Structures that we have shown are being burned down and destroyed over and over. These are the structures given today. I think this comparison right here is just shocking. To me, it's undeniable proof that we are not moving forward. We are not.
He definitely gets that part of it. Look at it. What, a little bit more. What do we got here? Give us some more.
Our church. This is insane. Take a look at the inside of this one. William P. Ginther. What a guy. And what have we found here? A massive moment for this research. Another confirmation that this cornerstone was opened, blessed, and rededicated by Bishop Anthony Pilla in June of 2002. Can you believe this?
I can. Just a little bit.
Cancelled. This early 1919 map of American and Canadian Airways illustrates the incredible growth and spread of these early airways, all of which were almost entirely spurred by the Post Office's airmail service. The Aero Club of America, an early organization set up to promote flight as well as mapping and planning out airways, defined one as being 80 miles wide.
So they invented the airplane in 1903. And by 1927, they had built, well, you'll see big lights for airmail. This guy knows all about it. Go, kid.
Licensing and the regulation of this aircraft industry, because now so many private enterprises and businesses were keen to get in.
Oh, fake. It's a lie.
The Post Office had proved could be a viable.
But they have the towers. Okay, I just wanted to say hi to this guy. They made, here's cartoons to let people know. Famous people did it.
And the mast had been removed from over the top of it. And it got me thinking, as I was researching and investigating the history of these things, could I actually find some for myself? I was about to visit the United States for both my honeymoon and to visit the TC-497. I made a video all about that. I'll leave a link to it up in the description. And I thought to myself, could we track some of these down as part of a road trip that follows these old? It was a beautiful, cool morning, and we sat up there for quite a while, taking in the incredible views stretching out ahead of us for miles. A small information sign tells of the history of this marker.
This all gets started. There were only 3 on Wikipedia.
Engraved with the words, "This marks the spot where Bonnie Day agreed." The Bonita Canyon, 10 miles south of here. So they have kind of pieced together this original transmitter tower and arrow and all these other bits and pieces from what has been left around the surviving sites. I think that's really cool. I think that's really interesting. So here's the lovely, fresh, pointy arrow with the center beacon point here. And you can basically see the metal supports, which we've been finding around the sites we've explored. This one in far better condition. And of course, this is the actual transmitter tower
itself.
Bolts, not
is the
rivet.
thing. But again, this one's been donated. This isn't actually original to this airfield. It was donated in 2011. So it's actually quite amazing how they've managed to piece together this entire museum from the
This one was
surviving
kind of
artifacts in the
different.
surrounding.
At Akamita, but in the early 1950s, it was relocated, buildings and all, to Milan, where the Grants Milan Municipal Airport was
Oh, they
officially
had these
established right
around the
next to the beacon station. The site also
country,
included a
and they
larger
probably had
fleet
them in every
service
nation
station
under
used
the
to provide
dome.
essential flight information to aircraft flying the route. When I turned up to the museum, it was officially closed, but both leaflets and signage are provided so that you can explore the
Not with
outdoor
this one. I thought you were going to
anytime.
discuss
My only
flight.
chat to them about their work and how they first managed to come across the unusual area of study that is the airway arrows.
This all started because of an email that a coworker, retired coworker of Brian's sent.
You know, I just said, oh, this is interesting. I forwarded it to her. She got it and really got into it.
And so I go, I need to find out more about this. So I went searching on Google and see if there was anything there. And within a month, I had 50 arrows. And I go, what am I going to do with these 50 arrows? No one knows about them. There's only 3 listed on the internet at this current time. So I went on, Brian was gone for the weekend. So I went on and made a website, and when he come home, I had the 50 arrows on the website. He goes, what did you do?
Arrows Across America is now a vast catalogue of arrow sites, coordinates, and information associated with the history of the airways.
Interesting.
Ryan and Charlotte have also now toured up and down the country, locating arrows, a few of them. And, you know, I think that's the thing that really captivates me the most about all of it.
If it might be interesting to know the mad rush. You know, we've got to get airmail. It's the most important thing in the world. Orville Wright invented it. And everything's a cover story.
That some people supposed. I do not think that it will supplant the steamship and the railroad as a mail carrier because it will be too expensive. However, Orville's skepticism did little to dissuade early pioneers. In September 1911, Earl of
Let's go back slow that down a second here.
Craft technology was the possibility of mail being transported and delivered by air, though the brothers themselves were skeptical. Orville Wright predicted that airborne mail would not be useful to the extent that some people supposed. I do not think that it will supplant the steamship and the railroad as a mail carrier because it will be too expensive. However, Orville...
Oh, I thought that was a person standing on there. Sorry, I wanted to look like a man.
Orville's skepticism did little to dissuade early pioneers. In September 1911, Earl Ovington, an early flying pioneer, would undertake the first official airmail flight in America, flying from Garden City, New York, to the nearby town of Mineola, just 3 miles away, and dropping a mailbag filled with letters and postcards from his Blériot Mark 9 aeroplane. In November 1916, the New York...
So mad rush. Arrows on the ground. There's arrows here. That's a mound, though. Culliford tree from the 1800s, so it's a mostly linear dike in Scotland. So this isn't the mound I was looking for, but we're going to see some other mounds around the crop circles. Here's some of the different arrows. You can tell they dug this one out. That's a way to go, girl. You dig it out. They had to dig this one out. 2018, these became a thing, I guess. Are these in Colorado? Nope, Connecticut. Oh. Keep going backwards. So that's one of the towers that has one of those arc lamps on it. They said it was like daylight along the nighttime trail so they could pass the mail. It was so that, you know, if you could do that, you're a nation. You had mail. I don't see the arrow. Is this it? There's one that would be more recognizable with a tower, another tower. New Mexico. Some of them are bent. But if you could fly low, I guess they say you could go into the middle of nowhere and put these arrows, I mean, in the middle of nowhere. Look at, you got your kicks on Route 66 in the middle of nowhere. Where's the town? Where's the road that I don't think they're ancient, but they're weird. So they're all over the Southwest. There's one in Pueblo, or here's the Pueblo Cheyenne Airway from Cheyenne. Here's Denver. Wyoming, huh? Colorado Springs, and these must be where they have their things. And they all ended up being the local airports. Wherever these were, they decided, well, you guys need a local airport since we already have a huge tower built. So there's something new you can file away. This is the Clifford Tree Burrow because I noticed a lot of mounds when I saw those crop circles. Oh. Well, I really thought I had another. I wanted to see it on Wikipedia because I looked at it earlier. This area seemed very interesting. Got a lot of, stone circle interest. So I was thinking, there's no Wikipedia thing. Some images. Let's get some big ones and see what's in the area. Any mounds? There's something. Is Stonehenge in that area? There's a Clifford Tree Burrow. That's a wishing well. Wishing of a wishing well, kiss and tell. They were stealing time. Okay. That was not the one. This guy was another whistleblower.
Shot.
Recently.
Looks like a bleeding out.
In an in-depth profile on Suchir Balaji, Fortune magazine attributed his parents' actions to a sincere desire to understand what has happened to their son. The magazine interviewed several of Suchir's friends who shared the parents' confusion and grief. The magazine cited Darren Firestone, a quote, attorney who works regularly with whistleblowers, end quote, who said whistleblowers often experience loneliness and doubt and can be under enormous pressure and may come to feel that the world is against them. The attorney advised his clients to use official channels and to remain anonymous. The magazine claimed that the parents' actions have fueled speculation on the internet and compared the controversy to the John Barnett case. In January 2025, Suchir's parents called upon Governor Gavin Newsom and California Attorney General Rob Bonta to step in, as well as the Trump administration, to sanction an independent FBI investigation of the case. Quote, we want a special team to be assigned. Remarau said, we want to dig out the truth, secure a death sentence for the one who murdered my son, and send the one who ordered him to be killed.
It's just not going to happen. They're still looking for Seth Rich's murderer.
18 months.
Okay, so you get it, right? PhD at 17, one of those guys.
He would ask his mom to light a lamp to cheer him up. Incredibly, he was able to recognize words at 20 months, and he went on to have a knack for technology, math, and computing, evidenced by his schoolwork. By age 11, Suchir had even started coding with the children's educational tool Scratch, and by 13, he had University of Berkeley with a Bachelor's of Arts in Computer Science. And while in college, he interned at Scale AI in 2019 and subsequently joined OpenAI upon his graduation in 2021. John Schulman, a co-founder of OpenAI, recruited Suchir right out of college.
Butterfly.
He spent nearly 4 years working at the company as an artificial intelligence researcher, and amongst other projects,
In
he
college.
was involved in gathering and organizing the internet data used to train GPT-4, a language model used by the company's online chatbot, ChatGPT. He also worked on a precursor model called WebGPT. However, in 2024, August, Suchir left the company after becoming disillusioned with its business practices. He said at the time, quote, if you believe what I believe, you have to just leave the company. And he also said that he felt AI is a harm to humanity. John Schulman also stated that Suchir had told him of his plans to leave OpenAI and that Suchir didn't think that better than human AI, known as artificial general intelligence, was right around the corner, like the rest of the company seemed to believe. After leaving OpenAI, Suchir started focusing on personal projects. According to one interview with his
Anyway, this guy, the police report, that's kind of what I wanted to hear.
Last moments. Is there any evidence anyone came in or out of the apartment?
No. Actually, even when our attorney concluded it's even at that moment, I mentioned to the attorney, look, there are 3 entrances to this building. One of them is gated. It has CCTV. Other 2 entrances don't have CCTV. And why are we ignoring that nobody came in, nobody went out? And also what we just recently discovered is his packages are missing. His roommate or no, his neighbor in the apartment complex, he mentioned that they have a shared package room. They have a shared bin or basket or something. He's seen Suchi's package until December 31st. He reached out to me through Twitter on the X platform when I tweeted.
That's New Year's.
report says that the toxicology report will include GHB only if it is more than 50,000 NGL. Combined with alcohol, this is a sedative. With this combination, he will be losing muscle control or possibly unconscious. We are waiting for a
He doesn't seem like that kind of guy that was doing the drugs.
onset sedative effects and ability to impair memory. GHB is also associated with facilitated crimes. Now, according to an internet forum thread, Remarau took photographs in the apartment after Suchir's body was removed. They were put into a report that was prepared without input from law enforcement or the medical examiner and supposedly included evidence that someone else was in the apartment at the time of his death. Additionally, it was reported that Suchir's parents and journalist George Webb believed that those photos revealed disturbing signs of a struggle inside of Suchir's apartment, including indications that he may have been crawling before he was killed. This was particularly true of pictures of the bathroom, which clearly showed a trash can that was knocked over and two separate pools of blood, one right by the doorway and one further over here on YouTube. But I think maybe if it's blurred enough.
don't know. It's a part of a clip-in wig.
Like there's some kind of plastic band or something that fits the wig on the head. We can see that coming out behind the door, and that evidence that no crime scene investigators or police can miss. They just ignored everything.
How could they ignore? So your son did not. I mean, he was a 26-year-old man, short hair from pictures. He's not wearing a wig, correct?
No, he is not.
Right.
And his hairs are not his. This investigator's analysis looked at the hair from the autopsy pictures, that my son's hair, and this hair, this is not his hair.
And the portion of the wig, the clip-in wig, has blood on it.
Yes.
Additionally, crime scene photos revealed an excess of blood, which Suchir's father, Ramamurthy, said was too much for a self-unaliving. A quote from Suchir's mother is a self-unaliving. As we know, Suchir's parents paid for their own autopsy, toxicology, and other tests, and Dr. Cohen, the doctor in charge of the second private autopsy, demonstrated that the bullet was fired at a specific difficult angle as described by Ramarao on Tucker Carlson's podcast.
So Dr. Cohen's autopsy, and this is grisly, I'm sorry, but demonstrates, proves that the bullet was fired at what angle?
Yeah, it's downward angle that someone cannot themselves.
Right. So in other words, if this were your son would have had to have held the gun to his forehead coming
From
down.
the top. He was made to sit. If you look at the same thing, like so the victim was sitting down. He was made to sit. Someone standing, he shot him down. In fact, like Balaji and I, my husband and I are going to create a virtual reality once we get all.
Wow.
Seen Suchir coming off with big suitcase and other things. And then Suchir said, yes, I'm coming back from LA. That's somewhere between 1 to 2 p.m. that day. And then he spoke to dad at 7:15 p.m. He was very happy. And Balaji said, like, shall we go to CES in Las Vegas?
You know, I don't want to get caught up. This isn't a politics thing. This is these guys. He was in on something, and now he's dead, and they're not afraid to kill people. Even these false claims, you know, you got to do that. I want to show you just some of those crop circles, and we'll wrap it up. See what we got here. The Tartaria. This is a deadly spy movie, big budget. We watched these. These guys go on every expensive trip there is. I don't have to go on vacation. Look at Andy Griffith, right? No, it's one of those spy movies. This channel will not put anything to do with the movie on it. So watch some where's those? Well, you can go check out those crop circles.
I can make this water go magically into this glass without ever touching it. To do this, I'm using 6 small glass dishes, food coloring, water, and paper towels. 3 of the glasses are full with water and 3 are empty. In the full glasses, add 3 different colors of food coloring. Then add a strip of paper towel connecting the full cups to the empty ones. Here's where the magic happens. The flow of water will start to go against gravity and travel through the paper towel from the full glasses to the empty ones. This process is called capillary action, and it's a main process in how plants take in water and nutrients from the soil. Can you predict what will happen after a few hours? That's right. Capillary action has taken complete effect. The colors have
Oh, look at it's green in the. I think that's
traveled
cool.
from one container to the next, and the empty cups are now.
Where's that ultraviolet mystery? Well, there it is. It's a kind of a shorter show tonight. Oh, I had those Bible verses. Don't go anywhere, you guys. I wanted to show you this. This is not the verse here. They came to some water, descending a vessel like a sheet. You know, that's when Peter. So one cried one thing, one cried another. Okay, there's 95 out of 500, a pretty strong root word. And this basically is the root word. The root word of the root word. The solid root word is the root word. How did we get here? It says, lama sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me is how we've learned it. But why do they call this why? Where is it ever translated why? You get, what is that the rock says? Can you smell what I'm cooking? They do it because they lie. They want you to think that one God part person was asking another God part person, why is this happening? That's not what the closer look at the scripture seems to. Well, let's read it in the English. At the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is translated, my God, why? Old reliables, right? Where else are we going to go? The consensus of opinion is all of the sudden this word in its fullest sense, where they add why, let's look for it here in the New Testament usages of total usages. We're looking for the why. You know why we're looking for the why there. Why are you worried about what you're going to wear? Not the same thing at all. Not the same kind. Why do you look at the spec? Doesn't seem to carry over. Why are you afraid? And why does it have these words highlighted? It is that same word, though. And this was one of the words, too, that was listed. Oh. Well, let's go back to that. And see what other words are listed with that. See, this is the same thing. I'm not trying to pull a fast one on you. Half of them, does anyone, will anyone, can anyone bind the strong man? Anyone? So going back, what he has, the question is not is this had to happen, why? Well, so that he was the dead sacrifice. You know, there's no remission of sin without the blood, and we were sentenced to death, my adopted brothers and sisters. More to come on this. So we've got this one last verse about descendants, your descendants. I'm going to multiply the seed. Here's your, do we get, okay, and your seed. We got that down. There must be a seed in this verse. The holy seed is mixed. Now, it's your descendants. It's not a, oh my goodness, there is some Nephilim seed and then there is the holy seed. No, it's the religious part of it. Right now, the odds are that maybe one of somebody you know, a family that raised their family as Christians, and most of them are doing fine, but one of them hates their mom and dad and can't stand how they tried to shove Christianity down their throat. It happens. For they have taken some of their daughters to be wives for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy race has mixed itself with the lands. The holy seed. The New King James Version, let me down, let me down. You know, these guys, of course, they let me down. Sometimes the King James will fix their obvious mistakes, but not always, and they don't even try. But we saw it's not seed like that. There is, I still like the idea that of a video I made, I think I was still in Texas, that can Nephilim be saved? And why not? Giants were in the Philistines, and we know that some of the Philistines were saved, and you know, all nations will have, you know, some part in it, I believe. Even the Moabites, and they didn't greet them with, you know, like, we just want some safe passage, you know, we're kind of related, and we're going to pay for everything. And they said, no. Ooh, bad idea. Anyway, it's a good idea to remember that this is a flat earth nation. The golden age is past. One reason, the mud flood was Armageddon. Then there was the 1,000 years. Now your orphan trained brain is going insane in the membrane. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We're trying to prove that we have your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. A Wiedersehen. Nakame. Adios. And remember, you go looking for a big time in the city, you're going to check into that place. The bellhop's tears are flowing. The desk clerks dressed in black. They've been so long on Lonely Street, they'll never get back. And they made everybody alone by locking them down in a Heartbreak Hotel. They want you lonely, baby.